morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today on Your Average Roofer, we are going to be resheeting this roof deck, and the reason we're resheeting is it's all dry rot, and they also have 3/8 ply on 2-foot centers. You can see, like right here, you step right through it. It's no good. So we're gonna add some 1/2-inch plywood, some fresh plywood, and make this thing proper. And we're also gonna replace that skylight. Guys are having so much problem with this dry rot is actually poor ventilation. If you look up here, they had ridge vent. It was cut about 9 inches wide, which is decent. It's a little too much. You don't need that wide. But if you see, their insulation actually comes up to the very top of the rafters. That's blocking all the airflow. And if you come down here to the bottom, you can see in the soffits there's absolutely no ventilation. So what we're going to do is we're going to add baffles onto the insulation to allow airflow, and we're going to cut a couple vents in the bottom of the soffit there, and that way air is going to be able to travel all the way up to the ridge vent and exhaust out the top. So let's get to that. And I almost forgot, actually, before we start getting in the baffles and everything, we have to replace this skylight here. So we'll replace that, but before I do that, I want to get rid of all this shingle grit because their bed's actually right below this. So I want to get rid of all the grit as much as possible and avoid getting anything on to the inside of their home. So I'm going to sweep all this down and take out the skylight, and then throw some sheets here, cut the new skylight in, and put the new skylight in right away. That way I can avoid anything else falling inside and keep it as clean as possible for them. So me being me, I forgot to record actually taking out the skylight. But as you can see, I removed it. I had the homeowner put a sheet inside, down on the floor, just to catch all the garbage. And now that I got this out, I can completely clear away all this plywood, bang all these nails down, and start sheeting. Alright, so as you can see, we got all the plywood off. Now we just have to go around, make sure we get every single nail, knock it all down, clean out all this grit and shingles that are in the attic space, and start putting some new sheets on this thing.
Dylan, big time approved here, bud. Fucking big time. We're big timing it, kids. Big time!
Alright, so now that I have all the plywood off, like I said, I'm going to go around and I'm going to bang all these nails down so they're not in the way of my new sheets when I'm trying to install them. Try to get every single one. You don't want to miss any of those, because if you miss those nails, what's going to happen is you're going to try to adjust your sheets and you're going to catch up on the nails, and pain in the ass, especially when you're installing your new plywood. So make sure you get every single nail. There should be one every 6 inches or every 12 inches, depending if it was in the field of the plywood or if it was on the edge of the plywood. and then you'll get more, like you can see here, there's 2 doubled up. That's where the seam of the plywood was, so they have to nail both sheets sideways. Most guys know that, but you know, just go ahead, nail them all down, and when you're done there, you can start slapping. Alright, so here we have the first sheet down, just something to walk on. Just makes it easier for bringing all our plywood up and everything. And now we're going to start by placing our next sheet off of that, straight off the bottoms there. And then we'll put in all our H-clips and start working our way up the roof. So as you can see, I'm just tacking these sheets in place. I'm going to come back with the framing nailer. Before I actually go ahead and nail these completely down, I have to stick a styrofoam baffle in all of these slots or every other slot just to create some airflow. So as you can see, the insulation sits really high. It's a vaulted ceiling inside, so we want to make sure we got airflow from the soffits below all the way up to the ridge vent. So yeah, let's slide those baffles in. Josh just brought them up, so let's stick them in. Alright, so now we just got to slide our baffles in. And you want this to go all the way down. It's going to hold the insulation down, so we have a space for airflow all the way up the roof line. So you basically, you can put them in before your sheet. I forgot to, but you slide them in. Make sure you're all the way down to the soffit, like so. Give a little air gap there, and like so. That way, in case the insulation ever expands and comes all the way up to the plywood decking, you have some sort of airflow in between there, and it'll prevent that dry rotting, which is exactly what happened here. It was poor insulation, and you definitely don't want that on your roof. So, just like this one here, you can see how it's pushed up, and it's actually pushing all the way up onto the plywood. This is just extra support to push that insulation down and keep it out of the way and allow air to flow. So as you can see here, what he's doing is he's actually pulling the truss over because it's not centered onto the sheet of plywood. That would be our seam. You want to make sure that stays centered. By doing that, he's just pulling this truss back and forth and then nailing it into place, and now that truss is stuck exactly where it needs to be. All right, so now we got our bottom sheets in, and you can see we put the baffles in. They're all the way down. Except for under the skylight, obviously, because that's not going to ventilate to the top anyways. So it's not a real big deal for it to be there. But we're going to have to add baffles all the way up this roof until we get to the very top. That way we have airflow all the way, and it'll preserve the plywood over time. And yeah, basically now we're just cutting in our sheets. We're going to cut them around the skylights, cut our gable ends, and put all these pieces in. And every single time you're attaching your top of your sheets to the bottom of your next sheet up, the next course, always remember to put your H-clips in according to the size of your plywood. So in this case, these are 1/2-inch H-clips.
I think these are a little smaller.
To go with the 1/2-inch ply. All right, guys, so there you can see we got the whole roof redecked. All 1/2-inch ply, baffles all the way up. And BDR is over here working on the skylight. What are you doing here?
Oh, we just installed a brand new Velux Skylight built-in solar electronic shade, so it comes with a remote control. Big time upselling. You got to upsell, guys. If you don't upsell, you're not selling at all. Right, Dilly?
Absolutely.
So this is just a straightforward install. You make sure it's on the 2-foot center. She just requires you to nail quite a bit, but it goes fairly easy. These holes are small. problem. You
And,
gotta be careful. Oh, you're still going.
Another question. Why aren't you wearing a pouch?
Well, I'm not wearing a pouch. I usually do. I always got my pouch and harness on, but like when I'm working over a Skylight, I never have any tools on my body because you tend to have it fall out. It breaks this brand new Skylight. These retail for about $1,200 plus install. So I'm not gonna risk it, man. I'd rather risk getting a fine by the ministry. Catch me if you can, motherfucker.
Can't find me if you can't find me.
That's right.
Alright, so that's one Skylight he's putting in. There's the other one he installed yesterday, and one on the front that we have to get to yet. But
We also retrussed that little piece there too.
yes, that whole lower flat roof there has all been retrussed and resheeted as well with 1/2 inch.
All about the upsell, right, Dylan?
Yep.
Give him a better roof.
Now we're gonna go ahead and throw some underlayment on this thing and get shingling. All right, so now that we got all the sheeting on, we're gonna go ahead and roll out our underlayment here and get it full prepped, and then we'll run some bundles up here and stop the shingling.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see, whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all their shoulders, like moving boulders just to get out of the home. It sucks, I've had enough, I don't wanna feel the stuck under the rug, all my problems that I shove. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough, nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough, nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. It sucks when you finally feel like giving up. Oh God, no luck, everything feels like you're sticky stuck. I'm lost, handcuffed to the bed where I sleep, don't give a fuck. Can't stop, unplug, feeling overwhelmed, I think I've had enough. Gotta find a way to get some energy, gotta find someone who's a good friend of me.
All right, so there you have it. We're all done the roof here. You got all your plywood on there, your skylights in. Nice little install on that.
The remote shaded Skylight, Dylan.
You got your, oh yeah, sorry. Solar.
Big time.
Shaded skylight.
Time.
You got your bathroom vent, your bathroom pipe flange. And that's it, guys. That is how you resheet a roof. Could you imagine? Can you imagine working with this guy every day?
Oh, it's sick. I'm too much fun.
Grow up. As the crazy framer would say, it's time for a beer.